Hi everybody, subscribe to Chemverse tutorial channel and hit the bell icon to get latest chemistry videos. Hello everybody, welcome to the first lecture on reaction mechanism. In this case, I am going to discuss about some basic things of SN1 and SN2 reaction mechanism. Although these are very elementary concept which I think you have already learned in your class 12 level chemistry. Over here I am going to recapitulate those things very quickly and we will move on to the factors affecting this kind of substitution reactions. Now let's begin our class with a common scheme for the substitution nucleophilic reactions. So over here it's your substrate where a leaving group is attached to the carbon atom containing these three groups. These are not necessarily alkyl groups. These R1, R2, R3 may be hydrogen as well. So when nucleophile is approaching towards this substrate, it substitutes this leaving group and basically they are exchanging their positions, you can think like that, and leaving group leaves the system. This is a common scheme. It looks pretty simple, but it will be something complex if I start to discuss about the reaction mechanisms. So there are two major mechanisms that it can follow, although there are some other types, but there are two major mechanisms. One is SN1 and another is SN2. So how it looks like? So there are two possibilities. So there are two possibilities for this substrate. First one is that this leaving group leaves from the system in the first step, that means the bond between the carbon and leaving group breaks. So it will lead to the formation of this kind of carbocation intermediate, and the incoming nucleophile has two options. It can attack from upside or from below, thereby leading to the formation of two kind of product, is R1, R2 and R3 plus, it's a very rough sketch of the product. So what I can see that over here in one case nucleophile is present at that side where the leaving group was present initially, and in the other case it is present in the opposite side, and there will be a equimolar mixture of them, 1:1 mixture. This kind of reaction is called the SN1 reaction mechanism. And why SN1? Because over here the bond breaking takes place in the first step. You know that breaking of bond has higher energy requirement and it will have the higher activation energy as well. So from here I can say that the first step is nothing but your slow or RDS step. RDS means rate determining step. Now rate determining step is nothing but the most important step of any multi-step process, and for this case I can say the rate law will be something like this. It is nothing but K, which is a rate constant, and the concentration of the substrate itself. So rate determining step, there is no involvement of nucleophile. Nucleophile attacks in the second step. So as a result of that I can say that it is solely dependent on the substrate. So it's a unimolecular. It's a unimolecular process. So I can term this substitution nucleophilic reaction as your SN1. Over here 1 stands for your molecularity. So this is one possibility, okay, and this is called the SN1 reaction mechanism. And over here this kind of 1:1 mixture is forming. So this kind of mixture is called your racemic mixture if these carbon centers are chiral. So I have not given you the idea of chirality and absolute nomenclature. Over here I am just giving you this information that remember for SN1 reaction racemization take place, racemic mixture take place. Now what is racemization? I will discuss it in the stereochemistry and then I will again explain these reactions in terms of absolute nomenclature and enantiomers, etc. So that's another topic I need not discuss over here. It's a very time bound class. So over here I am quickly recapitulating the things we have already studied in your class 12 level. So it is your SN1 reaction mechanism. Now let's move on to our alternative one. That means what will be the pattern of the SN2. Now SN2 is much simple. Now before going to start SN2, let's erase these things. Now for SN2 reaction mechanism, it is occurring in the single step. If it has only single step, now in the same step, the nucleophile will attack on the carbon center and simultaneous bond breaking will occur between carbon and leaving group, this bond. So what I can say over here, that in the single step, this carbon is forming bond with nucleophile and is breaking bond with leaving group. So it's making a new relationship with nucleophile, and just you can think that carbon breaks up with the relationship between carbon and leaving group. So leaving group now leaves away from the system. So what I can say over here, this carbon is delta positive, and this is a highly energetic state. Now this transition state is not an intermediate. Intermediate is something which I can isolate for some cases if it is to some extent stable, but this is not a stable state. It's nothing but a highly energetic state. So you can think that carbon has only 4 valency. Now if you take a look at this transition state, there are 5 groups or atoms are present around this carbon. So this is not a stable one, and it's a highly energetic state. Only in this case you can think that the simultaneous bond breaking and bond making is taking place. It's a hypothetical structure because the actual structure of transition state is still unknown. So it's a hypothetical structure to determine, to depict why I will discuss about this kind of structure. Actually, we are trying to determine the reaction mechanism, and for that case, this structure suits with our observation. So this is a structure of the transition state, and in the next step, what I can see, that the nucleophile will present over here. So it is your product. Now if you take a look at the product and compare it with starting material, nucleophile is present in the opposite direction with respect to the position where the leaving group was present. Now this is obvious because that nucleophile has to form bond simultaneously at that moment when the carbon is throwing away the leaving group. Okay, so only option for the nucleophile is to attack from backside. So if the backside attack occurs, automatically the inversion will take place. So it is our inverted product. So inversion is taking place. Okay, so now we will move on to our factors affecting the substitution reactions. So what could be the factors? There are 4 important factors. One is the nature of substrate. Okay. Number 2 is the solvent effect. Number 3 is your leaving ability of leaving group, and number 4 is the nucleophilic strength. So these are the 4 major factors on which SN type of reactions depends upon. Now, what is the role of substrate? So these are the 4 substrates. Now I have to discuss the SN1 reactivity. Before going to start, let's give them this kind of number A, B, C and D. Okay, so these are the ABCD 4 compounds. Now for SN1, the first step is a slow step, rate determining step, is the formation of carbocation intermediate. Now if I think what are the carbocation intermediates forming over here, then just erase the leaving group iodide from this and write down the structure of the corresponding carbocation. There is a structure of carbocation. Okay. Now from the concept of your general organic chemistry, CH3 group is plus H group as well as plus I group. Okay. Hyperconjugation and inductive effect, for both the perspective, CH3 group exerts electron density to the system and it is thereby stabilizing the carbocation. So the carbocation for the compound D is the most stable and it has very less stability for A. Although B is 1 degree, there will be one methyl group, but it's not good enough to stabilize this carbocation. So what I can see that SN1 reactivity is highest for D, then C, then B and A, and practically and this B and A do not give SN1 mechanism. Okay, so this is the comparative rate expression for SN1. Now moving on to our SN2 reactivity. What could be the SN2 reactivity? For this case, I need to draw the structures properly so that you can identify what will happen. Okay, when you draw the compounds in this way, then the answer is very simple, that when nucleophile attacks from the back side for A, it is very simple attack because there is no such bulky groups present in the back side. For B, although there is one methyl group which is to some extent bulkier than hydrogen, but still this kind of backside attack is feasible. But as we increase the number of these methyl groups, so it will practically shield the backside for D, and nucleophile will get in fact no room for the backside attack. So for this case, it's evident that SN2 reactivity is highest for A, then B, then C and D. For D, practically no SN2 occurs. And if I recall the reactivity of SN1, it is just opposite order. For A and B, practically no SN2 is occurring. So from this idea, what I can say that for tertiary alkyl halides, SN1 reaction mechanism is feasible. For tertiary, only SN1 is feasible. For primary alkyl halide like this, SN2, and for methyl alkyl halide, so we can think that it's a 0 degree alkyl halide. So these two cases, SN2 is feasible. But for C, it's a borderline. It can follow SN1 and SN2 both, depending on the other factors. Okay, so this is the common scheme of the reaction mechanism for the SN1 and SN2 for different kind of substrates. Now I am asking that what will be the reaction mechanism followed. Suppose the nucleophile is this and it is forming this kind of substituted product. Now my question is that what will be the mechanism it is following, SN1 or SN2? Now over here you will easily say that it's nothing but a CH2, so there is a R group over here, so it's nothing but this kind of structure. So from this structure I can say that it's a primary alkyl halide. It's a primary alkyl halide, and obviously the attack will be from backside, so SN2 attack will occur. But this is one borderline substrate, so it can do SN1 as well. Now my question is that how we can explain that. So in order to do that, SN1 reactivity, so it's a borderline, SN1 and SN2 both can happen. So for SN1, carbocation intermediate is forming. So if the carbocation intermediate is forming, so this will be the structure of the carbocation. Now it's obvious it's a allylic carbocation and it's highly stable with the help of resonance, isn't it? So this kind of carbocation formation is much more favorable. Now the stability of the carbocation will drive the molecule to follow some SN1 type mechanisms as well. Now there is another substrate which is this one. Over here, if I give you this nucleophile, this is giving the product. Now it's not a borderline, it is purely following SN1. Now question arises, why? Because in this case, look at this center. There is a primary primary alkyl halide. So there are two hydrogens over here. So it's a primary alkyl halide. So it should follow SN2 from our earlier concept. But over here, if I remove the iodine, that means the leaving group, it will produce this kind of carbocation, allylic carbocation. This bond will shift over here to produce this kind of resonating structure. And look at this. This carbocation is not only stabilized through resonance, but also it is getting two methyl groups which are plus H as well as plus I effect, exerting to the positive charge, and this makes this positive charge to highly stable system. So I can say that this kind of carbocation intermediate is very stable intermediate, and the molecule will try to form this intermediate. So once the molecule will try to form carbocation intermediate, it will go via SN1 mechanism. Now there is another this kind of borderline alkyl halide, which is your, suppose this benzyl bromide. From here I can say that it's primary alkyl halide, so it will follow SN2, but it is following SN1 as well. It's a borderline. Why? Because in this case I can say that this kind of carbocation intermediate is stabilized by the resonance of the benzene ring. Okay, so this will give the stability of the carbocation. Now the point is that for which case preferably SN1 will occur. Suppose I am attaching some electron donating group with the benzene ring. So electron donating group will increase the electron density over the benzene ring. So that will stabilize this kind of benzyl carbocation to such an extent that it will try to follow SN1 mechanism. So here SN1 mechanism is more prior. Now I am attaching some electron withdrawing group with the benzene ring itself. So it is decreasing the electron density over the benzene ring. So for this case, this kind of carbocation intermediate is to some extent less stable than benzyl carbocation. So for this case, it is more preferable for the system to follow SN2. Okay, now there is one more interesting factor, that suppose I am talking about ethyl iodide. It is following SN2 mechanism because it's a primary one and there is no such group which can give you the resonance stabilization to the carbocation. That's why it is purely following the SN2. Now, if I increase the bulk at this beta carbon, now can you identify what is the beta carbon? Iodine is attached to this carbon which is called the alpha carbon, and this carbon is beta carbon. Over here alpha and beta. So SN2 rate drastically decrease down the group. Now in order to explain the observation, what I can say, that the nucleophilic attack occurs at this center. Okay, and what will be the structure of the transition state? So if I draw the structure for this case, so this is the structure of the transition state. Over here delta negative, delta positive and delta negative. So this is for one extreme, that is this one. And now I am going to discuss the transition state for this one. Now I think you have already got your answer. Although the substituent present in the beta position, okay, present in the beta carbon, but still it is hindering the nucleophile attack. So for this case, when the steric bulk is increased in the beta carbon, so the approach of the nucleophile is getting hindered due to the steric effect of that bulky group. As a result of that, the rate drastically the rate will decrease, and that is depicting over here. Okay. Now what will be the rate of solvolysis? What will be the rate of solvolysis? Now rate of solvolysis means nothing but the solvent is acting as your nucleophile, and for all of this kind of reactions it follows SN1 reaction mechanism. Okay, so solvolysis means SN1 reaction mechanism. SN1 means there will be positive charge, that means the cation, carbocation will be formed. So let's draw the structure of the carbocations over here. You will get your answer. Okay, so after the detachment of leaving group, these are the structure of carbocation. This is highly stable because all of them are methyl groups exerting the plus H as well as plus I effect. So this is very much stable carbocation. If you give the number as 1, 2 and 3, so the stability of the carbocation is highest for 1. For 2 and 3, it will be very much less stability, because this is the bridgehead position, and for bridgehead position you can say that the positive charge and double bond is not allowed. Now why it is so? Because bridgehead position is rigid system and carbocation intermediate needs a planarity. For the rigid system, this kind of planarity cannot be attained, so these are very less stable than this one. But if you compare the structure between 2 and 3, 3 has more number of carbon atoms, so 3 is to some extent more flexible. So although it is rigid, but more flexible than 2 due to higher number of carbon at bridge position, at bridging. Okay, so due to that reason, although 2 and 3 are much less stable than 1, but 3 will have more stability than 2, and they are much less stable than 1. So SN1 reactivity follows the same order. Okay, this is the order of SN1 reactivity. So in this class I have already discussed almost all the important points related to the substrate structure. In the next class we will discuss about solvent effects and the living ability of living group, nucleophilicity. So these all topics will be discussed in my next class. So if you enjoyed my lecture, please like it, share it and subscribe it. Thank you. Happy learning.